Here's a new tactic from King 5 News. Seattle tests new approach to combat sex trafficking on Aurora Avenue. The city has launched a pilot program that sends warning letters to the homes of suspected sex buyers. When I first heard this,
the wrong person opening.
Right, all I could think about is some wife is going to open a letter and is not going to be happy. And maybe that's the point.
Oh, because if the car is not in your name and you just happen to be driving your wife's car that day.
Oh, yes, it might be a deterrent. It says Seattle's launched a pilot program that sends warning letters to the homes of suspected sex buyers along Aurora Avenue North. A new tactic aimed at reducing commercial sex exploitation in the area, where police estimate 500 to 1,000 people are sexually exploited each month. The program, which began a week and a half ago, involves photographing license plates of vehicles suspected of engaging in illegal sexual exploitation activity and mailing deterrence letters to the registered owners. 3 Seattle Police Department detectives trained in anti-trafficking work are carrying out the initiative. The chief of public safety for Mayor Bruce Harrell said there is clear research and data that indicates that a letter sent home to your family saying that you were in an area or soliciting sex would deter 80% of those trying to buy sex. Now, do we have the letter?
That was happening, but how do you know that's happening?
Let's take a look at the letter before I comment on my thoughts about this. So apparently this is what the letter would look like. It would come in the mail from the city of Seattle. The bullet point on the letter would say, suspected illegal sexual exploitation activity on Aurora Avenue North. Dear registered owner of vehicle. This letter is to notify you that a vehicle registered to your name was observed by detectives with the Seattle Police Department Human Trafficking Unit on Aurora Avenue North, engaged in suspected illegal sexual exploitation activity, more commonly known as soliciting or patronizing a prostitute. This area of Aurora Avenue is known for its high volume of sex exploitation. Specific details and photographs of the activity associated with your vehicle are included below and attached. So they put on there make, model, license plate, time, location, observations. So the detectives will say what the vehicle was observed doing. And then to top it all off, they will include photos they took to back it up. Question. It says the purpose of this letter is to serve as a warning to you that persons operating your vehicle were engaged in suspected sexual exploitation activity. SPD is not accusing you of a crime, and no criminal charges will follow based on this incident. If you or someone you know needs help in order to stop sexual exploitation activity, there are nonprofit organizations that may be able to assist. So first, I do think it's funny. I do, the idea of this letter coming to someone's home and a wife opening it up because dude was out there trying to find a hooker on Aurora makes me laugh. I think that's quite funny. There's a couple concerns I have. You could really ruin someone's life in a marriage if you don't get that right. And I get it that it's trained detectives who are sending this letter and what they identify, and I'm sure that most of the time they know what a John soliciting a hooker looks like. But let's say you get it wrong, because there's no burden of proof, so to speak, to send this letter, because it's not a criminal complaint. So let's say you got it wrong and it was just homeboy trying to get to work asking the hooker, do you know where the so-and-so is? And all of a sudden, there's a picture. So that concerns me.
Don't you think that they have to see them get in the vehicle?
It doesn't say that.
Can you show me where the bank is?
Doesn't say that. That's one of my concerns, is you're going to be sending letters home to some people and you might ruin marriages over this when there's no validity to it. The other more obvious concern is this. Arrest them. You're telling me you'll have detectives out monitoring the activity, taking pictures of it, collecting evidence, writing a narrative about what they saw, time and place, and instead of, going to arrest them, you let them drive off and you spend time writing them a strongly worded letter to suggest they not do it again. Wouldn't it just be easier to arrest them?
Well, I think they're trying to use resources that they already have. So they're using traffic cameras that are already in place to capture this, and then they're just going to use that. Like, they don't have the resources to put the cops on the street to go arrest.
Well, they said that there's going to be detectives who are tasked with carrying out the initiative. So it does have to include detective manpower, right? Yeah. But we don't know that it's not on the street. It didn't say that.
I think they say we're utilizing resources already, like the cameras
and
already.
Certainly that can help it. But if you have enough evidence that someone you strongly believe is soliciting a prostitute, build a case and charge them with the crime. Instead, you're sending a strongly worded letter home that they may or may not read. And if it's them that gets it and not like a spouse or something, they're just going to tear it up. And you're assuming that there's even someone at home who they'd be shamed by it. So or do both. Build a case and arrest them and charge them with solicitation of a prostitute, and also send a letter home.
I was going to say, do you think
makes
it's
no
just
sense.
too hard to build these cases? Do you think they're losing too many of these cases?
No, I don't think they're trying.
Yeah.
I think that their resources are probably stretched thin.
Yep.
And they're not focused on what's happening, like actually going out and effecting the arrests. That's fine. But if you have instances where you have that much evidence that's put in that letter, at least, pick them up. And if the case doesn't stick, the case doesn't stick.
They got scared.
But it just seems like one of these soft on, let's send a strongly worded letter home instead of, I don't know, putting handcuffs on them. Because to me, what would make me really think twice? Yeah. Like if I got a strongly worded letter saying don't do this anymore, or if I got put in handcuffs in the back of a cop car. Probably the latter. So it's, again, the soft on crime, I don't think it's going to make a difference approach.